Welcome back to Thriving Thoughts. I'm your host, Dr. Sherry. Today's episode is impromptu. And I know you guys are used to interviews on Mondays, but I decided to do something different today because today, for those of you who don't know, is International Women's Day. That's right. It's International Women's Day 2021. And so I wanted to share with you a little bit about what does that mean? In particular, what does it mean to you personally? I'm going to describe what International Women's Day 2021 is about according to the internationalwomensday.com website. But I'm going to take that a step further because you know this podcast is all about you, my friends. It's all about you. So we're going to flip the script a little bit on the hashtag Choose to Challenge theme of International Women's Day 2021. And I'm going to ask you to choose to challenge yourself. Before I get to that, I am so excited to announce the launch of my nonprofit organization. Yep, it's a 501c3 called Thriving Thoughts Global. You can check it out at thrivingthoughtsglobal.com. We're also on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube as at Thriving Thoughts Global. Listen, let me tell you something. I started this nonprofit. The idea came to me because I wanted this message of thriving thoughts that I share on this podcast, that I share in my vlogs, in my live videos on Facebook, in my posts on Instagram, in my thriving thoughts of the week, every week that I share on my YouTube channel, everything that I share through my individual coaching sessions, that world of Dr. Sherry and Thriving Thoughts, that's an intimate world. It's an intimate world because I get to connect with women like you in particular, yes, and some men too. And I'm able to walk this journey with you. You know, I have this small Thriving Thoughts texting community that you can be a part of if you'd like to. Just text the word thrive, THRIVE, to 540-369-2139. Thriving Thoughts with Dr. Sherry is just that. It's with Dr. Sherry. So you get me, right? And there's only so much coaching and only so much texting and only so much supporting. My circle can only be so big, right? Even if I were to write a New York Times #1 bestseller, or heck, number 10 for that matter, it wouldn't really matter. Once you're on the list, you're on the list. But even then, people who would be reading my book wouldn't really probably, in all likelihood, have the opportunity to interact with me directly. And right now, that's where I'm at. I have a small circle of people, and that circle changes, right? But it stays about the same in size. I have a small circle of people that I coach, that I text. And again, you can be one of those people, but I want that circle to remain small. I know you guys might say, well, I don't understand, Sherry. Most people want to scale their business, right? Isn't that what we're supposed to be doing? Scale our business from, hundreds of thousands to millions and then millions to billions. Well, maybe for some, but that's not my destiny. My destiny, my purpose is to walk with you, to walk beside you. And I can't do that with you if I'm too far away from you. So I decided, how can I take this message? Because I believe in it, I'm passionate about it, but how can I take this message further and deeper to women across the globe in their native languages, which is something far greater than I alone as Dr. Sherry can do. That, my friends, is where Thriving Thoughts Global, my new nonprofit, was birthed from. I wanted to reach more women and I wanted to reach them in their native language. So we launched Thriving Thoughts Global. It's kind of like a soft launch because really all we're doing right now is building community and letting people know that we're here, letting you know that we're here. We're here for you. There's a place for you and your thought world. We launched on March 1st. And you guys, I had no idea that serendipitously coincided with Women's History Month, which is the month of March. So how exciting is that? Anyway, and then here we are today. We land on International Women's Day 2021, today, March 8th. So we're going to be doing lots of things over at Thriving Thoughts Global. And yes, we're looking for women like you to get involved. We serve in a myriad of ways that's going to be kind of like scaffolded over time. We will be introducing new layers of ways that we provide a thriving thoughts impact across the world. The first layer I want you to be aware of is we do have a thriving thought of the week video. It's a 2-minute or less video with a thriving thought and how you can apply that directly in your life. So 2 minutes of your time, head on over to our YouTube channel at Thriving Thoughts Global. I'll include the link in the show notes. And the first way that you can serve is if you have the gift of translation or interpretation. So we're looking specifically for people gifted in the languages of French, Hindi, and Mandarin Chinese, as well as Spanish. So translating English to those languages to create subtitles for our videos so that we can then reach even more women across the world in their native language. That's my heart's desire. And that's why Thriving Thoughts Global will do so much more to inspire women to thrive through the power of thought than I alone could ever do. So thank you for just check us out. Check us out, follow us, like us on Instagram and Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss anything. Now, back to today's special message about International Women's Day. So International Women's Day, they have a theme yearly, and it's funny because I didn't even know about this theme until I decided to dig a little deeper. So I visited their website, and the theme for 2021 is hashtag choose to challenge. And they're asking women across the world to post pictures of themselves with their hands raised up saying, basically, I choose to challenge inequality. And I think that's beautiful. I think it's a beautiful message and a beautiful cause. I support that. I choose to challenge inequality. But I'm not right now focused on choosing to challenge the inequality that I see in others. You guessed it, friends. We're talking about ourselves today because we are the only people that we can truly influence. Right? We can call other people's attention to stuff, but if you're anything like me and somebody tells you you did something wrong, you might want to tell them something about themselves, and you're probably not in a headspace to listen anyway. So the way to choose to challenge, to change the world, to stand up to inequality is to stand up to our own personal tendencies toward inequality. Now, you might say, Dr. Sherry, I don't have any tendencies towards inequality. There is none of that in my life. Well, my friends, pinch me. I'm in my flesh. I'm human, and so are you. We all have shortcomings, and we all have opportunities to improve. We have opportunities to improve first of all, our understanding of ourselves, our biases, our prejudices, our tendencies, our own behaviors that contribute to inequality. So that's what I want to call you today. So I am inviting you to the Choose to Challenge Yourself challenge to celebrate International Women's Day this 2021. There are 4 tenets of their hashtag choose to challenge theme for International Women's Day 2021. Oh, and by the way, I am not an International Women's Day spokesperson, so this podcast and International Women's Day, they are not linked in any way, shape, or form, okay? This is just my message to you based on something that I see that's relevant in the world today. So the first tenet is to challenge inequality. So my question to you would be, how can you challenge inequality in your own mind, in your own thought world, and in your own heart? Let's look at what inequality means from a thought world perspective. Inequality means that sometimes we choose to apply that thought and other times we don't. And sometimes that's when people call other people a hypocrite, right? Because they apply it to one standard but not to another. That's rampant in our world because it's rampant in humanity, which is you and me, my friends. That's right. We are not immune to hypocrisy. So I want you to be aware of the times in your life that you don't treat your own thoughts and values equally, that you don't apply them equally to either people, situations, circumstances, groups of people, whatever it is. Do you have a particular ideology, but it only applies in this situation and not this one because in one it's convenient and the other it's not? I know I'm stepping on some toes, but it's true, right? I'm calling you to investigate you, to choose to challenge yourself. Okay? So guess what? You don't even have to tell anybody that you're choosing to challenge yourself. You don't have to stand up and raise your hand. I think it would be great if you did, because I think it's important for more of us to choose to challenge ourselves, our beliefs, our practices, our tendencies, our biases. And that brings us to the second tenet of this year's theme, hashtag choose to challenge, which is calling out bias. Now, my estimation when I read that was we're supposed to see the bias in other people, institutions, systems, whatever it is, and call out bias when we see it. But my friends, you can't control other people or systems or anything else. And a lot of times they don't listen to you anyway. So I'm going to ask you to start with you, because if you can change you, then other people get to look at you and you become a model, an example, right? That's how people change, by watching other people. It's behavioral imitation. It's a very simple psychological human process. People imitate people that they respect. So start with you. Call out your own bias. Do not permit yourself to let your bias be shoved under the rug. Spend some time in self-reflection. Do you have a bias? When does it come out? You might feel it when somebody says something and you feel like a gut punch and you go, well, that's not true. That's not true about me, right? We get defensive. Sometimes our biases are revealed in our defensiveness. So that's just one cue. So challenge your own inequality, your own standards, and how they differ from place to place, circumstance to circumstance, person to person, groups of people to groups of people, and call out bias, your own bias. Identify it, spend some time with it, call it out. Don't give it a pass, because I bet you wouldn't give anybody else's bias a pass. So why would you give your own? And the third one is to question stereotypes, right? So do you have stereotypes of people, of groups of people? And that's not just race, right? That's income, that's race, that's religion, that's political affiliation. Let me tell y'all, we got some major stereotypes about people who believe in the Republican ticket and people who believe in the Democratic ticket and people who believe in the Libertarian ticket. Like, we tend to lump those people into one group or another, right? And then we judge them. That, my friends, is inequality. It's bias. It's stereotyping. That's just a very practical example. Because if you fall in any one of those three, chances are, if you were asked to describe any of the other ones, you would describe that group with a stereotype. So check your own stereotypes. Call it out. Don't give it a pass. And finally, help forge an inclusive world. How can you help forge an inclusive world in your life? Is it widening your circle? Is it widening opportunities to meet new people who aren't like you, to invite them out to dinner, on a walk? We always do stuff socially with food here in the Western Hemisphere, but invite somebody to meet you for a walk in the park. Get to know people. And I know some of you might say, well, I'm just not a people person. I'm just not comfortable meeting new people. I'm shy, blah, blah, blah. You heard me right, blah, blah, blah. No, not everybody is a people person, but everybody is designed to connect on some level, and you are not given a pass to forge a world of inclusion just because you're not a people person. You can go out of your way to do something for somebody that you think maybe you never thought you'd do something for. Let's forge a world of inclusion by making our personal worlds one of inclusion. So here's the challenge today. I do accept that hashtag choose to challenge. I further accept, and most importantly, accept the choose to challenge myself. Friends, women particularly, I invite you to choose to challenge yourself today in honor of International Women's Day 2021. If you accept the challenge, get down below in the comments, share this episode with a friend. Hey, share it with somebody who works at International Women's Day. I'd love to hear what they think about this message. And I am not trying to tweak their message at all. I am just piggybacking on it, okay? So thank you, International Women's Day, for this hashtag choose to challenge, because it's making me choose to challenge myself. And friends, I hope it's making you choose to challenge yourself today. All right, we'll see you right back here on Friday for another episode of Thriving Thoughts. And until then, please do remember to speak truth over the lies, and you will thrive in any and every circumstance.